First things first, we're gonna need to do some prep work. So we are gonna wash these off, peel them off, wash them again, and then we can start dicing, cubing, or slicing, whatever you prefer. Feel free to adapt these seasonings to whatever you like. I personally like sweet and spicy, so I got sweet potatoes, but I'm going to be using cayenne pepper for a kick. You can use whatever you like. I like to use parchment paper. Not only is it good for cleanup, it's going to make it so that it doesn't stick, because I like to use very light oil. As you see here, I use about 3 tablespoons of oil just to give it a nice coat and make sure that all the seasonings coat everything nice and evenly. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I don't really do too much measuring, but I love cumin, so I want to say I'm probably using about 1 to 2 tablespoons of cumin. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of turmeric, about another teaspoon of cayenne pepper, probably about a tablespoon of pink salt. That is the most alkaline salt you can get. Probably use a little bit of a dash of black pepper, and we are good to go. Once you get all your items seasoned, you just want to lay it out in the pan. Our favorite, more prep. That's the one downside of doing Whole Foods, but it's so much better for you. So we're going to clean these off and get off the tips, break off any parts that look odd. Then we're going to move right on over here to this organic tempeh. High in protein. It does give a bit of a nutty flavor. I like it. It's nice to switch up versus eating tofu all the time. But you can also do beans. If you do not want to do soy, it's a great alternative. In this video, you're going to see me use 1 block of tempeh. However, I ended up doubling it due to the fact that it didn't have as many pieces as I preferred. I cut them into little slices, kind of like they're ribs, since I'm going to be using barbecue sauce. So I like to actually season my tempeh or tofu. So I like to give it a nice dry rub, put a little bit of oil on it so it can coat it yet again. In this case, I'm using a seasoning called Kansas City Chop. Delicious, has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, paprika, cayenne pepper, a couple other things in there, but you can use whatever you like. So I'm gonna blend that up, throw it into the pan. And in this case, I'm going to be using a copper pan. So it really doesn't require any oil at all, but being a vegan, we don't really get much fat due to the fact we're not eating meat. So I like to get these healthy fats into my diet. I use either olive oil or avocado oil, but you can use whatever you like. We're going to fry these up, get a little bit of golden brown on all sides before we start adding the barbecue sauce in. Now we're moving right on along to the green beans. I personally love garlic because it has a lot of antibacterial properties, antifungal properties, which are really good for your digestion and your gut. And this time of year, it just really kind of helps keep all the sickness and colds away. So I'm going to dice those up, and I'm actually going to use vegan butter, but you can use oil, you can use whatever you like. So I'm going to be using a vegan brand butter that you can buy at pretty much every grocery store. I believe even Walmart has it now. And I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to use my little dicer because I didn't want my hands to smell totally like garlic. And in this case, to season my green beans, I am using Kickin' Chicken by Weber, which is pretty much in every store as well. It's in the seasoning aisle. That to me just gave a really good flavor, and instead of me having to pull out a whole bunch of individual spices, it already has a nice blend. Onion, salt, garlic, red pepper, orange peel, sugar. It's delicious. Now back to the tempeh. We're going to use Sweet Baby Ray's, and don't worry, it's vegan. I checked. So we're going to use about 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce for this one block of tempeh. We're going to thin it out using 1/4 cup of water. That's going to make it nice and saucy so that it can really blend and coat really well. So don't worry, it will thin out. You're going to have to stir it as it warms up. It'll thin, and you'll see it's delicious. Okay, beautiful. Checking everything out. Everything seems to be cooking really well. I personally like my beans to get a little bit of a golden brown. Same thing with the sweet potatoes. They do take the longest, but they are easier to cook than regular potatoes. But I start them first so that my barbecue tempeh and green beans have time to cook. Doesn't really take long at all. It's the best part about vegetables. They do not take long. This whole meal probably took me about 20-25 minutes tops. And then we can move right on over into plating. Okay, so this made 4 meals. Good to go, nice and healthy. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment below. I'm happy to make any items you like.